Hi, all. Kinsey Schofield here with Matt Wilkinson, the royal editor at The Sun. Matt, the last time I spoke to you, Harry and Meghan had just visited Nigeria, and I asked you,
Harry and Meghan have touched down in Colombia, but why? Royal editor Matt Wilkinson is raising eyebrows about their sudden visit. What's behind this surprise trip? A secret project, PR stunt, or something deeper?
why the Nigerian government pursued that. Same question for Colombia. Why would Colombia invite Harry and Meghan for a visit? What's in it for them?
Well, yeah, I mean, this is something we've been debating for the last couple of weeks. It's kind of been unclear as to why, quite frankly. I mean, I think we kind of can get worried that Harry and Meghan are literally just kind of members of the royal family for hire. That any government around the country can issue an invite and they accept. Harry and Meghan have arrived, so they're in Colombia, and after they arrived, we did get a little bit of an insight actually from the vice president. It's a kind of a troubling quote. She said that she became aware of Meghan's story after the Netflix show, which surprised me a little bit that she didn't seem to know much of the background. But she's basing her invite on what happens, the Netflix show, which, as we know, was riddled with inconsistencies. It was had mistakes, it had errors, it had only one point of view, and it was very critical of the royal family. Painted a very sympathetic picture of Meghan and Harry, obviously, but very critical of the royal family and of the UK at large. But she also mentioned, this is the vice president who invited them. She's also mentioned that last summer they held a special day in Colombia. I think it was a Black Heritage Day, and they thought, well, wouldn't it be wonderful if Meghan could be here? And that's where the invite came from last summer, as long ago as I think it was last July. And this is where it's come from. It is purely the vice president. Harry and Meghan aren't meeting the current president. My understanding is that there's not going to be a face-to-face meeting. So it's all on the strength of this woman's personality. I spoke to people connected to Colombia, and I said, "What do you think about this visit?" And they are worried, obviously, about the money. The left-wing government who's invited them is not overly popular, but this seems like a way of the vice president to boost her fame. I mean, she would have been pictured with Meghan, greeting Meghan, in Bogota, and her face and her name's going to be painted all over the world. So maybe that's the reason why the vice president of Colombia has invited two of the most famous people in the world.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like what you just described is Meghan getting her way twice. The Netflix documentary worked in their favor. I think we all knew that the ultimate objective with the Netflix documentary wasn't necessarily the big paycheck they got to take home, but it was so that they could get their side of the story out beyond Oprah Winfrey and beyond Spare, which was really Prince Harry's point of view. But also Meghan having a foot in politics. The fact that the vice president is so enthralled with her and wants to elevate her and wants to be seen with her, knowing that Meghan has, dipped her toe politically in the States, calling senators, talking to them about extended time away for moms, trying to sway them one way or another, or doing these digital campaigns during the 2020 election, trying to get more women out to vote. So Meghan is probably in her element today and for the next few days. Do you believe that that's true?
Sources say it's a private humanitarian visit, but with no press release, speculation is rampant. Wilkinson called the visit odd, questioning why Colombia for a quiet mission. Critics say it's a headline grab, fans say it's real work, so which is it?
Yeah, I do partly. I think this is going to be the Meghan show. I mean, I think it's all about Meghan. I mean, I saw Harry and Meghan in Invictus Games in Germany just almost a year ago, and it was all about the arrival of Meghan. When Harry was there, he was doing, he was having good fun with his friends, but it was quite low key. It was all set up for Meghan's arrival. We were told what she was wearing. There was more specific setups for press photographs and events for Meghan, and that's what I think this is. I think that previously, when they were working royals, when they went to Australia and South Africa, for instance, there was a good reception for them. I mean, Meghan went down very well, actually, in South Africa, to give her credit. I think when she made that powerful speech in Cape Town, I think it was Johannesburg or Cape Town. It slipped my mind. But, she was very impressive. And I think they liked that adulation. Harry's had it all his life, but Meghan liked that adulation. She liked the support. She liked meeting Archbishop Desmond Tutu in South Africa. She liked meeting these world leaders. And I think that this is all about her, all about her profile. She wants to be seen as a worldwide figure meeting politicians, and we've already seen one picture of her meeting the vice president. It's a pooled picture of the pair of them giving each other the hug. That's what she wants. It's almost like before she became a working royal as well. She went to places like Rwanda. I think she went to like a UN conference, and she likes that. That adulation, that support, being there with you pictured with politicians and world leaders is wonderful for her profile. So I think we'll see more of that over these 4 days of Meghan being front and center, and I think it's what she wants.
Right. And I also remember before Prince Harry that the picture of her at the White House, she had a friend connected to President Obama. So yeah, absolutely, you're right. We spoke about this last time too, but I'm going to poke you about it again. The late Queen Elizabeth said, no half in, no half out. It still looks to me as if that is what Harry and Meghan are trying to project to the world, despite that message from the palace, pursuing the perks on their terms without the hard work and strategy that goes into being a senior member of the royal family. Why is it so important to the Sussexes to visit Nigeria, Colombia, when back home they're trying to sell us yoga mats and kitchen content on Netflix? Doesn't it feel like those two paths are extremely different?
Yeah, I mean, it's complicated. It's complicated to answer that. I mean, I think firstly, look, they're not representing the UK. They're not working royals. They can just go wherever they want. But everyone has to remember they're just a pair of celebrities at the moment. This isn't an official royal tour. I think that's difficult. Not criticising Colombia and Nigeria, but it's obviously difficult for them to realise that they're not representing the UK. They're not out there for anything specific based, members of the royal family. But what they are doing is they're representing Archewell. And the confusing thing is here, we don't really know what Archewell or Harry and Meghan stand for. So that they have certain causes. They launched the Parents Network last week about, very good cause about cyberbullying, but we don't really, it feels a bit vague. I don't really, the engagements they're doing. Why? I've been on many tours, official royal tours, and you see what they're doing. These are Foreign Office events, they're defence events. They're something that a couple of weeks later might help a diplomatic incident or a diplomatic situation with another country. It links countries and governments up. Why are they in Colombia? They're just there to represent themselves and Archewell, and we don't quite know what they stand for yet. And I think there'll be an Invictus. There'll be an Invictus event because Colombia are in the Invictus Games, and there will be something to do with women's empowerment, which is something that Meghan's obviously spoken about in the past. But I'm not going to say shallow. I'm going to say vague. I don't understand the topics. I don't understand the reason they're going there. Whereas when the King and Queen or the Prince and Princess of Wales go abroad, you know why they're in a country, you know what the reason is. But ultimately, this just comes back to they're just representing themselves and Archewell in a vague way.
Some applaud their efforts in Latin America, others smell opportunism. If this trip is the start of something bigger, we'll see the breadcrumbs soon. Motives or mission? Only time will tell. Thanks for watching.